This is a Sage Story.
Well, my name is Brian Gant, and I was born February 1964. Well, I was born in Camden, New Jersey, to a single mother. I lived in the projects when I was very young. I had several people around me who helped, I would say, helped raise me. But there were a few other folks who raised me who had a great impact on my life. My mom, obviously, her sister, and my uncle and my grandmother. My uncle is a wonderful soul. He was a laborer type of guy. He worked in the factory. He is very kind. That's what I saw when I was younger. And he worked all the time. Well, as a child, it had a great impact. I mean, he, I think, really defined my walk in life and what I perceived human beings should be, in specific to being a man. I watched everything that he did. I watched how he treated my aunt, how he treated his children, his biological children. I watched and studied how he communicated with his longtime male friends and how they supported each other through the hard and good times. I even kind of really studied how he resolved issues and made demands on folks. And I started to emulate that. I mean, I was involved in a lot of the things that people would say the Pearls are. You know, I partied, I hung out when I could, but I think what saved me was an inner feeling that God was with me and that I was in tune, number one. Number two, I always thought your character spoke most. And if you nurtured your character in a positive way, a lot of things will stay away from you. Then I had very good parents. My uncle talked to me about being a responsible person, talked to me about understanding my belief systems, honor your commitments, be very productive. I was very productive as a child. Education was a big thing. So I focused on those things. And then when I was in the street, I made clear decisions about what I was going to do that would not put me in a negative position. And I practiced that time and time again. Now, that doesn't mean that things didn't happen to me. It doesn't mean that I was not protected. Yeah, I had a lot of things that happened to me, but by the grace of God and my willingness to succeed, I did. And I stayed away from it. I stayed away from drugs. I didn't do any drugs. I didn't start really drinking until I was late in my 20s. I did have relationships with people who I think I shouldn't have relationships with, but I was seeking out intimate love and trying to work with the people. And then I found later on that they had a different agenda. And sometimes you don't know that until you really get involved with people. Well, there's something that really happened. I don't know exactly the date or anything. I happened to be actually watching television. And in the country of Indonesia, there was a great flood. They called monsoons or something. And I think during that time, about 10,000 to 20,000 people died instantly from the water. And I was thinking, well, you could be anywhere in the world and your life can be different. And at that moment, I decided that I was going to be my authentic self. From that little moment, knowing that at any moment you could be gone. So from that day, I just started being who I was. I think I was around 11 or 12. I think I was around 11 or 12 when that happened. I don't know exactly how old I was, but I know it was a tween when it did happen. And it changed my whole concept of what life on earth is about. Well, most folks in my family were very supportive. I'm pretty sure there were some in my family who were not, but the family members who were very close to me, my mother, my aunt, my uncles, and my cousins, who were raised to be my brothers and sisters, they treated me with the utmost kindness and support. I did get a sense at some times that they probably didn't wish this upon me, but they treated me very kindly. I didn't notice anything different. I wasn't an outcast. I was part of the family. I felt proud to be a part of this family. They made me feel proud. They didn't shun me. I had a different experience than some of my friends. Some of my friends, their parents would throw them out, would talk about them, would be embarrassed and stuff. Now, I think I'm astute enough to know that maybe there were some family members who, in private, may had a different opinion about it, but towards me, no, my family was very, very nice, even to this day. It was not until really I got to college when I really had to define truly what path was I really taking. I noticed that in college, many people wanted to label you based on what they saw. So then I just took the notion that I had to decide who I was and promote that, and that's what I did. No, I didn't live a gay life in college. I actually, the way I first think that I'm a human being, and that anything secondary to that is just a label. So I didn't live a gay lifestyle. Now, people would say I did, because once they found out that I was gay, that's what they labeled you. I had all kinds of friends. I did have partners. I dated women periodically, but my male partners were the ones that I actually would take home and show to my family. So I knew then that I was really into guys. My friends, when I would come home from college, I would bring friends, and usually the current person I was partnering with at the time, and my friends and partners would be really scared. But my family would make them feel at ease. They would roll out the red carpet, they would provide food, lodging, engage in conversation, so my friends would then feel at ease. I mean, even sometimes when we were leaving, my friends would tell me that they wished that my parents and my family, that their parents and family were more accepting like mine. So, and I was a very young child. I was 7, 8, or 9 then. And I felt good about myself, but because of the child abuse, the only way I thought to get out of it was to kill myself, to get away from this situation. Not that my life was so bad in terms of the world, is that these people were adults, they controlled everything, and the only way I saw as a child can think is to take my life. Well, when I met my uncle, and my aunt brought my uncle into my life, is when everything changed. He really defined who I am, and it changed my thought about living. He gave me a sense that your current circumstances does not have to define who you are. And he saved my life, along with my aunt. So if I can say to any young person, is that if you're feeling suicidal or you're feeling depressed, is to look beyond those things to see what things can be greater. And that's how I survived. I started.
Share your story at sageusa.org/SageStory.